Mass, you know. So please, at this time, we want to call on Mr. Charles Ajiboye, the moderator for the panel session, to please come up and anchor this session. He is the immediate past Assistant Secretary, General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association. Publicity, National Assistant Publicity Secretary. Yeah, all these publicity people. Well, we don't like politics, but that's all right. Thank you so much, dear Charles Ajiboye. He is from St. Louis, and then we look forward to having NACL active. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, in fact, he has moved to the other side. He has joined the wagon to the island, so he's now from CCDM, Catholic Church of Divine Mercy. I think the Lord has blessed him. Anyhow, once a St. Louis member, always a St. Louis. Yeah, thank you so much. So, Mr. Charles, we'll leave you with the microphone while.
Thank you very much. Justice. Justice. Are we still munching? Okay, let's go. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much, Almond. He keeps promoting me with the introduction. But I think it's fine to say Charles Ajiboye, or maybe for the purpose of this conversation, Charles. And today, we have I am adopting the protocols as already established by Madam President and Almond, and I'm standing, resting, sitting, and adopting it in full. And so we'll just go straight into business. We have a very, very interesting topic, and Reverend Father and Professor has trashed it in a very, very fantastic way. And I'm happy about the way the program for this conference has been designed, because it really gives us the opportunity to discuss the topic. We have very, very fantastic personalities on the panel, and the room is also full with a lot of VIPs and VVIPs and triple VIPs. And so we are going to trash this topic. We're going to start from the panel, and then we are going to come to the floor and back. And I'm sure that by the time we are done here, nobody in this room will leave here confused about how strong institutions enable democracy, how the ones that are not supposed to be existing can be brought down. But I want us to keep our minds open. We are about to take off on a flight. I want us to have maybe, can we get one more microphone, or we're going to use just two? Okay, one more is coming, fantastic. And so I'm going to bring up the panelists now. Of course, you already know them. These are big names. These are big people. These are great people. I want to be sure that those joining online on the panel are available. Can we see their faces? Who is with the tech? Let's be sure that we have them online. I'm aware, or I've been informed, that Dr. Chukwuemeka Ogwaja is joining online. I want to be sure he's online. I've also been told that General Pat is also joining online. Let's test their audio as well, so that I don't introduce them and then we start finding them. I'm seeing some faces. You may want to make them the center. Beautiful, beautiful. So let us test the mic. Is that General Pat, or is that Dr. Ugbaja? Can we test the mic? You can try to unmute yourself. Let's see if they've activated your microphone, and say hello to us and mention your name. Let's be sure we have a real human being and not artificial intelligence.
Hello. Hello, Dr. Chukwuemeka Ogbaja is here.
Okay, we cite you, Doctor.
Loud and clear.
You are very audible, Doctor. Good to know that you are there. Is General, so we'll leave his mic active so that he can unmute as it is.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back to you, Doctor. Do we also have General available?
Okay, General. Okay, General, perhaps I can do it.
Fantastic. So just hang in there, and then I'll do the introduction now. we've had to bring back Reverend Father Professor Akiwale, and I'll yield the microphone to the PRO, Ahmad. Okay, Father, please just come right to the center. They didn't want you to go without appreciating you in a very special way. Thank you very much, Madam President, PRO. I'm told that there is some symbol of honor. I know you have about 50 or 200 of these, but please put this in front somewhere you see very regularly. Thank you very much in your study. Please go ahead. The second microphone.
At this time, we'll be calling on Dr. Chizi to please help with the presentation of the plaque to Padre, supported by the president of the association. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Well, I thought the president should be doing the honors. But Father, she asked me to do it, and I'll do it. I think it was a beautiful speech you gave, quite detailed. Well, we are going to go after this, so I have some issues with it, but so we take it, at your back. Yes. So, well, we've been associated with this body, I think since 2003, since, yes, well, quite a while. Yes, BI, law school, and that was the first time, yes. And Father is quite active, now he's motivated, and he's given us a beautiful presentation to come on again, give you standing ovation. So Father, congratulations. We say your shadow should not grow less. God bless you. Strengthen your ministry.
Let's see, check, see.
Media, I hope you are covering this now, or capturing the moment.
Check, see.
Thank you. Thank you, Padre.
Thank you very much. Now, since we have all our panelists in the room, we are about to destroy, to tear apart, to dissect the paper as presented by Reverend Father Professor Anthony Akinwale. To do that, I'm just going to follow the list as is on page 1 of the program and bring up to the stage. I am not going to commit any contempt of court, and then that's why I will just start with it so that I won't forget it. My Lord, the Honorable Justice Matthias Dawodu. A round of applause for him as he takes his seat. My Lord, please, can we put our hands together for him again? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, this one, sir. All right, thank you very much, sir. Okay, dedicated to you. Very quickly, I want to bring up some erudite legal practitioner, someone I respect so much. I would say more about her in the course of the panel session. Mrs. Titilola Akinlahon, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Please make her welcome. Thank you very much, ma'am. Ma, don't use the edge. Let me sit beside you. Just the second one. Thank you very much. All right, then. Of course, let's worry about those in the room now. So I'll come back to online. We have in the room as well with us for this panel, Mr. Liberos Oshoma. Aha, Maga. Come and occupy beside my Lord. Thank you very much. Of course, we have joining us online, Dr. Chukwuemeka Ogwaja. We saw his face just a moment ago. Let's see him again. You're very welcome, Doc. And then we have General Pat Akemvinger. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. Permit me to mention my name, Reverend Charles Ajiboye. I know you will not clap for me. Then I knew you will clap. Thank you very much. All right, so we'll go right into the conversation for today. I want us all to have some kind of writing material handy because this is supposed to be as interactive as it can be. Typically, what we would have done would have been to ask, every member of the panelists of this panel to make some kind of a presentation on something about it, but we'll come back to that. The presentation by Father was so deep and so broad that we will have to start by dissecting that, and I'll give the members of the panel some kind of cue all at once. Then that helps you to prepare. So let's all have our program handy. The first thing, like I said, is we want to dissect every part of it and get the views of the members of this panel on every issue that Father has raised. So I'm going to run through different segments. I hope everybody has this on this panel. Yes, please. I'm going to run through different pages. I'll mention some areas where we'll expect the panelists to first attack, and then the first person I give the cue is the last person we will start with. So I'm going to be starting when we... All right. I would have added to the protocol, but I know that Halmon had already made established protocol. But so that they will not evict me from the order of night, please make welcome my word brother, Dr. Boniface Chizi. Please come join us to this side. Thank you very much, sir. You've been confiscated. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to run through this just to give our panelists a heads up, and then we'll have some small presentation by Milord, and then we'll go right into the answers from the panelists. On page 17, Leonard Silk, Father said something very, very fundamental. The tragic paradox, the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth paragraph. It says the tragic paradox of the electoral route to authoritarianism is that democracy's assassins use the very institutions of democracy gradually, subtly, and even legally to kill it. That's one part of it that you will take. And I would like you to take it from the angle of the bar and how lawyers help to build democracy with the institution that we currently occupy. I'm going to go straight on to Mr. Liberos. Yours will be on page 18, the first paragraph. Are you able to, do you have this? Okay, yeah, it's in the head. Okay. The first paragraph says, let me say here by way of digression, that the jury is still out on Obama's own legacy, especially as it concerns his respect or lack of respect for freedom to hold and express religious convictions in the United States. That paragraph, we are talking about, or we want you to talk about the hypocrisy or otherwise of the Obama's presentation with regards to democracy and the institutions part of your own intervention. And right after that, we'll come to you, Major, General, and then you will be responding also on page 18. And then he has the paper as well, yes. Major has the paper, yes. On page 18, the part that talks about from bottom up, building institutions from bottom up, because everybody talks about leadership and how leadership is supposed to build institutions that will enable democracy. But Father said something in that part of the paragraph where it talks about building institutions from the bottom up. Can institutions really be built from the bottom up? And then we'll come to Dr. Ogbaja. Dr. Ogbaja will talk about something about on page 19. It's the 5th paragraph on page 19. It talks about the purpose of government is to protect the rights of the citizen. The purpose of the Constitution is to establish institutions which ought to be used as instruments to protect the citizen. And then there's a last line that talks about Nigerians are at the mercy of government and its officials at various levels and in every institution of government, and Nigerians are at the mercy of one another. We want you to extray that, the weakness of the Nigerian constitution with regards to the building of institutions. What exactly are some of those areas that you think are completely flawed that we should look into? And then Milord will answer this while he makes his presentation, which is autocracy. Autocracy was spoken about by Prof on page 18 when he was talking about a tale of two autocrats, Nkrumah and Jerry Rawlings. So we want to look at autocracy. And there's this kind of, I don't know what the literary expression is that Father used here, where he seemingly played with the roles of these people. They first came up as saviors, and they turned out to be scavengers. That's how they became autocratic. So when Milord is taking that, he will just make that his brief presentation, and then we'll come back to the other parts of the presentation. So for now, we'll go straight to the same order with which I gave the cue. We'll just have interventions, 5 minutes, and then we'll come around again. Thank you very much. A round of applause for all the members of this panel again.
Thank you. Well, I've been asked to talk about the statement made by Father Akinwale that the tragic paradox of the electoral route to authoritarianism is the democracy's assassins use the very institutions of democracy gradually, subtly, and even legally to kill it. Now, when we look at elections, indeed, most of us in this room do not participate at elections because we look at it that why should I subject myself to the rigors of queuing up, of going through all that rigors, check here, do that and that. So we do not vote. We now leave it to the hands of those people that do not even understand the whole essence of the elections. Those people that they would have settled by stomach infrastructure. So what are we about? The people that want to remain in office, those ones, the strong men as put by Obama, would do everything to ensure that those people that have the wherewithal to challenge them will never get up. You cannot make it unless you join them. It was part of the position taken by Father. But now, from where I am seated, looking at it as a legal practitioner and a legal practitioner that participated in electoral process, at least I've always been counsel during election tribunals and what have you. The way and manner the electoral laws itself is formulated, it cannot work. You cannot, as a petitioner, going before the electoral tribunal, win the case, unless there are other factors considered in the process. Because you are expected to come up with getting people from various constituencies. You have to get them to come and give evidence. Like presidential, for instance. It means from all over the 36 states of Nigeria and the FCT, you have to get at least 2-3 people from each ward, from wherever, all over. So you look at it, it's almost impossible. To be able to do that that you have immediately after the results were released, you have only 30 days to come up with this. Well, this thing is very crazy. When you are there, It's 24 hours job. They have to bring all those people from all over, and then you'll be interviewing each one of them, writing it. Before you have to type, redraft, type, collate, and put all the exhibits. You have bundles and bundles and bundles. There was a particular one that I participated. It was governorship. We had 30 volumes of 1,000 pages each. Truth be told, who is that human being that will settle down to wade through all of that and be able to come to a resolution? And even after the trial, the judges sat for over 11 hours, almost 12 hours, to deliver the judgment. It's crazy and it's inhuman. So we have to go back to the laws to see how we can streamline this to ensure that indeed those that are well qualified are those that will get in. And if you try to imagine the cost, if you have to prepare those volumes, so that's why they say that if you are really not very comfortable, you cannot aspire to assume office in Nigeria. It's almost like impossible. And of course, the electorate, the illiterates, that are the ones that are willing to sacrifice to vote. Once they're given 5,000, 2,000, or a module of rice or something, they're good. They're good to go. But we, the elites, we sit on the fence. I cannot do that. I cannot stand in the sun. I cannot. We have to wake up. And more importantly, before I drop, I believe that when we talk about strong institutions, who are those people that are going to man those institutions? Whichever level you want to look at it, is this us Nigerians that are all, well, don't let me say all, most of us are morally bankrupt. So where are we talking, what are we talking about? Strong institutions. Where will they be? Are we going to import people from Mars to come and manage those institutions? It's the people. We're the people. We have, the society has completely lost its moral values. It's completely eroded. I had a situation before a judge not too long ago. I was complaining about an office, the Surveyor General's office in Lagos State, actually, that we have already paid official fees of 1.5 million to do a composite plan. And they said they can't do it unless we pay additional 500 as mobilization. And I thought that this was a court order. Why should I mobilize you? I haven't paid officially. Is it not part of the official fees that you are supposed to use to? And you know, it was amazing. When I complained to the judge, believing that I could get a content order or something, well, the judge told me, you will have to do it. Look, I took that day, I had serious headache. So I look at it, every facet, everywhere, every corner, morally bankrupt. So, strong institutions, I think we're just joking.
Thank you very much, Ma. And she was just within time. Okay, I won't make comments yet. Let them make the rounds. Let me move straight now to my extreme right. Let me jump a bit around so that I'll give my Lord the opportunity to also make his presentation. Because, you know, I won't be surprised if my Lord will come and scatter the table and even say, what Prof said, you know, I don't agree. It's democracies that actually enables institutions. Put your hands together for my Lord, Honorable Justice Matthias Dawodu.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to commend the organizers. For the program as well as presenting this topic. I don't want to say I'll stand on existing protocols because we among the judges at our training, we've been taught that you don't say you're standing on existing protocols. It's either like you just say that I greet everybody, or you have to specifically mention each person accordingly. So I'll first of all start and say that thank you to Padre for the wonderful paper that you've given us. It was very detailed and to an extent quite enlightening as regards to certain things. I also like to say thank you to my fellow panelists for coming to make these presentations, those that are here physically and those that are joining us online. I also like to say thank you also to the National Executive Council of the National Association of the Catholic Lawyers, as well as the Executive Council of the Archdiocese of Lagos, ably led by their president, and esteemed members and distinguished guests that are here to listen to this paper. I mean, there's no doubt about it that it's a topic that really, at the moment, strikes at our bedrock of our, trying to look for the exact word now. It strikes at the foundation, actually, of our society. Father, in his paper, has mentioned something which I took note from, which in my little presentation I'll talk about. Father talked about weak constitution that has endangered weak institutions. Also, we must learn to take responsibility of our actions, the issue of having independent judges, as well as the educational institution which has gone down and has continued to affect the country. There is something that, when Father was talking about strong institution, first and foremost, we need to understand the meaning of what is an institution. It's very, very important and critical. Then before we can now talk about whether we really have an institution is simply an organization that has a fixed set of values, ideologies, practice, principles, rules, regulations. Now the question is this: do we have anything like that in Nigeria? Well, a perfect example of a strong institution is the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church remains the same, has always been the same from time immemorial. Today in the Catholic Church, if I want to attend Mass, the same Mass I will attend at St. Dominic's is the same Mass I will attend at Holy Cross, is the same Mass I will attend at St. Leo's, is the same Mass I will attend at St. Practically in all the Catholic churches. That is an institution. That's an institution. Even if I'm traveling abroad, like someone said, yes, even in Ghana, in the UK, it's still the same Mass. Their ideologies, their principles, it's fixed. It is predictable. The question is this: in Nigeria, do we even have what we call institution? You go to the hospital, you are not sure whether you ever see the doctor. You go to the police station, your father has said it. I mean, they say police is your friend. Are they actually your friend? So the question is, do we really have an institution in Nigeria? That's something for each and every one of us to talk about. So before you can talk about weak institutions, do we really have one in Nigeria? I mean, it's really tough. Universities are expected to spend only about 4 years. In a Nigerian university, if you are lucky, thank your stars, if you spend that 4 years. If not, you can spend 5, 6, 7 years. I had a colleague of mine, he went to do his PhD. His master's and PhD took him just 4 years. My own sister, it took her 11 years to get her PhD. 11 years. And she was one of the best graduate students at university. So they bypassed her for masters when she started her PhD. But yeah, it took her 11 years. Can you say that's an institution? Or it's just something that, you just pray to God and hope that the thing doesn't change. And that's what makes it different from African countries and those that, let me use the word now, japa, that they want to disappear. Because in all these countries of UK, Canada, US that they have an established institutions. Funny enough, recently those institutions are actually gradually falling, but at least they still have an institution. In Nigeria, can we say we have that? Relating my talk to the role of judiciary regarding democracy. Now, Father said something that we have a weak constitution. I don't agree. Our constitution is strong and is enough to us to have a proper democratic society. The problem is how people interpret the constitution. generally the powers of the judiciary, section 6 and chapter 7, and I can define the duties or function of the judiciary. Two things, just two major things. One, to settle disputes, all kinds of disputes, whether between individuals, state government, federal government, all kinds of disputes. The second one, and most importantly, interpretation of statutes, of the constitution, of the law, of the documents. The problem in Nigeria today is interpretation. And if I may take the quote of Brima JSC in Okumagba versus Egbe, he said something about the courts, particularly the judges. The function of a judge is to state the law, not to rewrite the law. The problem you have in Nigeria today, if you look at it in judiciary, is that people just, it's like they are rewriting the law. That's why at times when you look at the TV, you have two senior advocates that are talking. One is saying A, another is saying B, and they're interpreting a particular section, but they are saying different things. It's something that for many of us, we need to look at. I'll refer to a particular case. It's very famous. Inakoju versus Adeleke. That was democracy. I can say that that case established that there can be democracy in Nigeria. What happened in that case? 18 House of Assembly members rose up one day and went to one hotel in Ibadan. And they said that they don't like the governor, they want to remove the governor. Next thing, in that same hotel, they initiated the process of removing the governor, sending a letter to the CJO, start process, conduct a panel, and what have you. The other 14 members of the State House of Assembly said, this is wrong. The Constitution is clear on how you can remove a governor of a state. You need to follow the due process. You're not following the due process. What happened? They went to court. At the High Court, of course, the 18 members filed a plenary objection that the High Court does not have jurisdiction. Of course, well, as at that time, from feelers, you can't blame the judge in question. I mean, these are two major gladiators. And of course, the judge also knew those who were behind the 18 House of Assembly members. To be honest, he played safe. He ruled he doesn't have jurisdiction. Struck out the matter. Of course, the 14 other members were not happy. They went to the Court of Appeal. They had presented their case before the Court of Appeal that the High Court said it doesn't have jurisdiction to look into this. All we are saying is that these 18 members are not following the due process. Look into it. The Court of Appeal didn't waste their time. For instance, said, yes, the lower court was wrong to say it doesn't have jurisdiction. The State High Court had jurisdiction. The Court of Appeal now went further, invoking the provisions of, I think, is it section 15 or 16 of the Court of Appeal Act, to say that we will look into the matter ourselves. There is no need of sending it back to the State High Court because, I mean, anything could happen. And in their judgment, they held that, yes, the process that was undertaken by the 18 members was wrong, was contrary to the provisions of the Constitution. Of course, the 18 members were not happy. They went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, I'm not sure whether it was a full court that heard the matter. But in their judgment, they agreed with the Court of Appeal and said that, yes, what the 18 members did was wrong. That is a classic example. If I may quote, permit me to quote what the Supreme Court said. Anything done outside the House of Assembly to remove the governor is a nullity. The governor is elected by the people, the electorate. The procedure and proceedings leading to his removal should be available to any willing eyes, and this the public will watch from the gallery. It should not be a hidden affair in a hotel room. A legislature is not a secret organization or a secret court or fraternity where things are done in utmost secrecy and in recess of a hotel. On the contrary, a legislature is a public institution built mostly on public property to the glare and visibility of the public. Public JSC went further to say, it is not a lawful or legitimate exercise of the constitutional function in Section 188 for a House of Assembly to remove a governor or deputy governor to achieve a political purpose or one of organized vendetta clearly outside gross misconduct under the section. Section 188 cannot be invoked merely because the House does not like the face or look of the governor or deputy governor in a particular moment, or the governor or deputy governor refuse to respond with a general smile to the legislator, queen House on a parliamentary or courtesy visit to the holder of the office. End of quote. That was a classic for me. That case shows, well, that case was several years ago. I just started here telling you how to. But really, looking at that case, you could see that the judiciary was not only able to curb the excessiveness of the legislature, but they were able to stamp their authority. And that's why there's no doubt about it. The judiciary is a fundamental tool for nation building. But you see, unfortunately, very unfortunate, the challenges faced by the judiciary makes it practically impossible to function. Before I go into the challenges of the judiciary, let me just, there's a quote by H.E. Gardner on how important the judiciary is to nation building. I say his quote, a society without legislature is conceivable. And indeed, legislative organs do not make their appearance in the state until modern times. But a civilized state without a judicial organ and machinery is hardly conceivable. From the citizen point of view, judiciary is the most important organ of the government and society because it acts as their protector against the possible excesses of legislative and executive organs, while also at the same time serves as the ultimate recourse for the enforcement of the citizens' rights. There's no better, for me personally, there's no other way to define the role the judiciary plays. But you see, in the face of challenges, expecting or seeing a judiciary as an institution is very, very tough. And what are these challenges? The very first one is lack of independence and financial autonomy. There's no doubt about it. It's a known fact. The judiciary is always at the mercy of the executive. There's nothing anybody can do about it. And I want people to just, you people to think about it. Now, judiciary, you have judicial officers. All judicial officers are paid, their salaries are paid by NJC. Look at the number of judicial officers you have in Nigeria. Let's say each state have a minimum of 30 judges. Exceptional and Lagos has 75. I think Rivers has about 50, I'm not sure. Then you calculate also the number of the Federal High Court judges, almost maybe about another 60 or so. Then FCT, then you look at the Court of Appeal, Supreme Court. You also look at the Sharia Court of Appeal judges as well as the Customary Court of Appeal judges. When you look at all this, you will discover that at least you have nothing less than minimum at least over 1,000 judicial officers. Look at their budget. Look at the budget NJC presents to the Senate. Then look at the number of National Assembly members you have. I think 108 Senate, let's say about 500. They are less than half of the number of judicial officers. But yet, when you look at the budget, I won't say more anyway, because the records are out there. There is no doubt about it. Where a judiciary, where the CG, respective CGs, their hands are tied. They are forced to go and beg for money for the development of the judiciary. Can you expect the judiciary to be fully independent? I don't know. But it's a question for people to think about. part of lack of independence also has to do with poor remuneration of judicial officers and staff. I mean, I think last year, a high court, an equivalent of a high court judge in the United States of America earns about a minimum of $240,000 per year. Well, you can do the calculations, put it into Naira. You can imagine. That is a standard for the high court judge in the US. Same thing in the United Kingdom. I mean, the figures are out there. They don't. One thing I like about them in the US and UK, they don't hide, or they don't hide all this. All these things are well open in the glare. Now, bring it back to Nigeria. How much does the average senator earns in a year or in a month? And the same thing with a rep. Mind you, a judicial officer is somebody who will have had experience of many years. Even before he has been appointed, he will have been a lawyer at least. The Constitution says minimum of 12 years. Some get appointed after 20-something years. When you look at all these things, there is no that affect the judiciary. Not only that, they don't have staff. I remember when I was in legal practice, I was head of litigation at ACAS, now Denton ACAS. As the head of litigation, all our cases were just about 400. And I alone, as head, I was involved in, let me see, just 120. I was not involved in all the 400. And even that the fact that I was involved in 120, I had 5 juniors that were working for me. As a sitting judge, the number of my cases is over 600. I don't have any junior working for me. My only name is my legal registrar. And yet I have to do all these 600 cases. You have some judges that are handling about 800 cases. How do you want them to cope? How do you want them to perform? I mean, it shows major problem. Another major problem of this one, actually, I want to really emphasize on, because Father talked about it, our educational institution. This has to do with appointment and training of judicial officers. What everybody fails to understand is this, and let me just give a classic example, like 30 to 35 years time. In 30 to 35 years time, all the judicial officers currently sitting on the bench will have retired, some will have died, but they will not be on the bench. The people that will be on the bench will be new faces. Those people, where are they coming from? How are they being trained? It's a major problem. And when Father said it, it's true, you start from the university. If the university does not curtail the kind of people that they are bringing in to study law, I'm sorry to say we are wasting our time. We can complain from now to the kingdom come that, executive is the one hijacking the appointment and everything. But when the people that are being trained are not properly trained, don't expect any solution. These people in university at the moment are the ones that are going to become judges tomorrow, senior advocates tomorrow. They are the ones that are going to be at the helm of affairs. And if their training is done in a shabby manner, don't expect anything different. So when people every time complain that, judges are doing this, they are doing that, you've forgotten that these judges, they came from schools, they came from universities. When you have in universities, you'll have heard it severally online. Some people are bribing their way, some are sleeping with the lecturers. When that kind of person gets to the bench, what do you expect? What do you expect? When that kind of person becomes a senior advocate, what do you expect? It's impossible for you to plant corn and expect to harvest pineapple. It's impossible. It's what you planted that is what you're going to get. So when people start complaining about judiciary, it's what has happened already in the university. There's nothing anybody can do. I give you a classic example of, to be a lawyer in Germany, You have three major steps.
My Lord, we have to round up, please. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll try. Just give me like 10 more
20 minutes.
Give me like 10 more
It's
minutes.
fine.
I'll
No,
try.
5 more minutes.
Give me 10 more minutes.
So that we can run all through panel.
Let me give you the German example. You have 3 steps to become a lawyer in Germany. The first step is this. You will have spent about 4-5 years in university. After spending that 4-5 years, you are made to sit down for an exam. The exam is both in written and oral. If you don't pass that exam, you can't move to the next step. If you pass the next step, step 2, you have to spend 2 years of practical clerkship. Those 2 years, you go around all the court system, all the administrative bodies, all the tribunals, as well as the various chambers for 2 years. After that 2 years of practical training, you will now come back again and write an exam. There is no way whoever will undergo such a training will not come out as a good lawyer. Can we say we have that in Nigeria? And of course, when you have poorly trained lawyers, I don't need to tell you the implication and the effect they have on the whole system. That's why you have people, 2 sons, are interpreting one particular section of the Constitution, giving different interpretations. And unfortunately, what we don't know is this. When they are giving that wrong interpretation, non-lawyers are looking at us and are like, Sane is saying this, Sanbi is saying this, what is happening? The next thing is easy for somebody to say, oh, if Sane goes to the court, he knows that judge. He will just tell him, and that's the end of the story. And that's part of the problem. I'm saying, the institution, so you ask yourself, can you ever have an institution, not to talk of having a strong institution?
Thank you very much, my Lord. Thank you very much, my Lord. Thank you. Let's put our hands together.
Let me just end with this quote. So let me just conclude. The judiciary remains the cornerstone of Nigerian democratic order. As the guardian of the Constitution, it has the cardinal responsibility of ensuring that no arm of the government exceeds its bounds, that citizens' rights are protected, and that justice is dispensed without fear or favor. Landmark judicial pronouncements over the years have reinforced democratic values, preserved constitutionalism, and restored public confidence in the rule of law. All hands must be on deck to tackle the systemic challenges as stated above. If left unaddressed, these obstacles not only weaken and destroy the judiciary, but in fact also erode the very foundation of democracy. For Nigerian democracy to survive, the judiciary must be allowed to function with genuine independence, both financially and institutionally. This requires full implementation of constitutional provisions on financial autonomy, merit-based judicial appointments, investment in infrastructure, training of lawyers, and reforms that prioritize efficiency and transparency in justice delivery. Ultimately, a strong and independent judiciary is not a privilege. It is the lifeline of our democracy and the last hope of the common man. Safeguarding the judiciary is therefore synonymous with safeguarding Nigerian democratic integrity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my Lord. Put your hands together for my Lord. You can feel the passion that my Lord has for the topic. He used 5 times the time I gave him. The passion is much, but I know we can, if we leave my Lord, he will just continue to do it. But again, he has raised a lot of dust. And I'm hoping that other panelists with shorter time, within shorter time, will shake and break that table, because the idea is for us to discuss these things elaborately, have different perspectives to the same issue, and see how we can forge ahead. I hope we still have General and Dr. Buaja online. I'll come to you very quickly. I'm hoping that Mr. Liberal, anyway, is beside me here and is my person, so I usually just collect the mic. He cannot cite me for contempt. It's because my Lord can cite me for contempt. That's how I was doing it. I will collect it. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Liberal for his own.
Yes, thank you very much. And I would start by saying that Milord was turning to a strong person as against strong institutions. Because we are talking about building strong institutions. Milord was almost turning to a stronger person here. And Milord raised some issues. And to answer the question that you asked me,
I would rephrase it to mean Democrats destroying democracy. Just like I was discussing with my friend and brother Theophilus Sorupe, made federation in need of federalism, and judiciary also destroying judiciary. Just like the learned seekers also said, lawyers destroy, the legal profession. Nigerians destroy Nigeria. And so, for us to talk about institution, when I read through the keynote address, the Prof, Reverend Father, answered the question at the tail end. The world has diversified to a knowledge-based economy. And his Lordship also said the same thing. You can't build without knowledge. And his Lordship talked about senior advocate giving conflicting interpretation. Judges give conflicting judgments to the same set of facts, the same set of laws. That is why this is the only governorship election petition in Nigeria is the only election that passes through the 3 stages of court, from the tribunal to court of appeal. Why? Because court of appeal were giving conflicting judgments on the same set of matters. Even in the last election, Plateau State was an example. But unfortunately, because the House of Assembly matters terminates at the Court of Appeal, those House of Assembly members went home. But the governorship that had the same judgment, I think it was Zamfara, at the Court of Appeal, at the Supreme Court disagreed with the Court of Appeal. But if the House of Assembly members' petition were allowed to go to the Supreme Court, they still will have been members of the Supreme Court today. So it is not just senior advocates, it's not just lawyers, even judges do it. So it boils down to education. And then the question is, do we have institutions? Do we as a people have institutions? We need to understand democracy, how democracy destroys democracy, for us to talk about institutions. Because it's always very easy for us to blame the other party. I met one Alaji, a politician, he told me, he said, I don't vote, but I will always win election. Do you know why? Democracy is, we say, is a government of the people. Who are these people? I have all of you in the room here. I control you by giving you what you want consistently. On the day of election, I simply sit down in my house and then I call 1 or 2 persons and said, you lead this group, you lead that group, you lead that group. And this is the way we want it. But that's okay. And at the end of the day, the vote comes, I will simply smile home. That's why Shehu Sani last year sat down here and said that because the politicians understand this, so that's why they control the judiciary, they control everybody. So our brand of democracy is the one that we consistently create superhuman beings. In China, I'm very happy that Prof talked about this and then bust the myths of Burkina Faso, Ghana, for those who went to sit down, kneel down with the military to beg the military, come back. Until we look at our government and say they must start from the bottom to the top, if you like Obasanjo once said, bring a Messiah. We'll still be here because what we have is a feeding bottle system of government where everybody goes to Abuja on Mondays and come back on Friday. I've never seen that kind of practice in another country. On Monday, go to the airports in Lagos and Port Harcourt, everywhere is filled up. Everybody's rushing to Abuja, seeking rents. On Friday, they are back. And we've been funding our social security with corruption. And that's why the letter 6 said all of us are involved. And so how can we now build these strong institutions when we are all involved in this system? It is not through this democracy that we are practicing, with all due respect. It won't lead us to that El Dorado. And that's why Wyver said that even not in his lifetime. In China, for example, they operate a one-party system. But what do? They first and foremost look at their education and say, look, this education can't take us this way. We need, and that's where the Prof talked about educating those people that will be, even if they become strong individuals, they will bet strong institution. Like they did in China. Say, look, you know what? Let's change the education curriculum. Let's send our people to go and learn the Western ways. They learn those Western ways and they operate a single party system where the leadership, they recruit leadership. And you can't be a president in China if you don't pass through that leadership. And that's why they kill if you commit fraud. Because if they allow you, someday that man who stole 2 kobo will grow up to become the president and he won't see it as a big deal. So for that set of leaders, they're still in China, but not among the leadership. So we need to sit down and look at our education curriculum and say, look, we need to diversify into a knowledge-based economy where our people who are going to vote would be able to think. Because in my estate, for example, if you say election today, I can tell you the Okada riders, the cooks, the almajiris will defeat the elite. If we like, let all of us come out. And that's why if you look at the North, you say, oh, these people are just having children. Not for you. It's for election.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Not for you. It's for election. I don't know if they both for election purpose. But anyway, Mr. Liberos has just given us that information. You know, some things bother me. And one of such things is when Father finished his presentation, I asked him just one question. Because I had the privilege of reading his paper ahead, and when he finished, I asked him about the last paragraph. I said to him before he left, I said Rollins, Traore, Nkrumah, all of them, were they not educated? And he said, no, they were not educated. I said, okay, that means what he was talking about was not what I was thinking about. It's a different thing that Mr. Liberos Oshoma has talked about now. He's talking about the education of the masses, of the common man, so that they can make informed decisions. But again, I don't know whether it is the decisions that those people are making that is actually defining our democracy. I don't know whether it is not the institutions that interpret our democratic process that defines our democracy, much more than the people that went to vote. It's a different angle for us to consider. Because someone said something to me one day. He said a bad law in the hands of a good man will be a good law. And a good law in the hand of a bad man, I'm coming. A good law in the hand of a bad man will still be a bad law. But we'll come back to that. Okay, let me say quickly.
So please, His Lordship already said it. As a chief judge, your hands are tied. What makes your hand tied? My local government chairman, during the installation of a king in one of these villages in Okpila, said, may the crown stay in your head. And I looked at myself, I said, what does this man, who is a local government chairman, the government that is closest to the people, know? But it was people that voted him. What kind of decision will he take? If he's to appoint a chief judge tomorrow, you think he cares about the law in the hand of a good man? It's to his benefit. So you need to understand the importance of these people that are going to take decisions that would build stronger institutions. Let me also round up by saying, you are not a human being, except government says you are. That's why they give you birth certificates. You are not educated, except government say you are educated. They give you certificates. You don't even own a company. Even this Nigerian Catholic law, until you register, you can't even operate it. And the people that will collectively take these decisions, whether you're a human being, you leave the Fulefus to decide who they become, and then you say that decisions is not important.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for him. Let's see those online. General Dr. Gwaja, are you there? Can you allow them to unmute themselves, give them the access? General, can you nod if you can hear me? Can you just nod if you can hear me? Fantastic. Doctor, can you nod if you can hear me? Beautiful. Can you give them access? Let them be able to unmute themselves so that we can hear them and then connect them to the speakers. Can you try to unmute your mic now, sirs? Tech.
Okay, I think, Doctor, you are audible now. Are you?
Yes, I am.
Please, can you go now? Did you hear what I asked you to discuss about within the context of the keynote speaker's paper?
Yes, you talked about the kind of constitution we have vis-a-vis institutions and the strong persons.
Fantastic. Please go ahead. 5 minutes, sir.
Beautiful. I want to thank the association for giving me an opportunity to be with you this year. I am highly excited to talk on the national view on the issue of constitution and the content of our constitution and the institutions. I want to first of all thank the erudite lecturer, Reverend Father, who stated that we don't have a constitution. And I want to disagree with the eminent jurist, with all due respect, that we don't have a constitution. Do we have? Who made the constitution? The constitution said we, the people of Nigeria. When did we come together to make a constitution for this country? Few people sat together in conjunction with the military and made a constitution and foisted it on us. And those few people took all the powers that be and handed over to one man, the president. And that is why it is said that the Nigerian president is about the strongest president in the world. There has been efforts over the years since 1999 to have a retouch on our constitution by the so-called National Assembly. Each year they vote sums of money to say they are reviewing the constitution. What have they come about with? Nothing, practically nothing. It was only through the time of Jonathan that there was something that I would have considered as a major convocation of the Nigerian people to think about the content of the constitution. But unfortunately, our dear president then couldn't muster the courage, the way to put those decisions, those matters that were reached upon by the entire Nigerian people into use, into force. If he did, we wouldn't have been talking about strong persons in strong institutions. Be that as it may, strong institutions, only one man appoints the judiciary. Only one man appoints all the members of important institutions, agencies in Nigeria. And the same man has the power to coerce and appoint the president of the Senate. The same man has the power to appoint the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And we are here talking about strong institutions. How could these institutions be strong? Let me take, for instance, the electoral management body in Nigeria, where I served. The president appoints the chairman of INEC. The president appoints the resident electoral commissioners. The president appoints national commissioners. And you talk about strong man. Why would the chairman of INEC not turn to a strong man when he has a backing of the president? The president appoints the judiciary and determine their salary. Why would the chief judge of Nigeria not be a strong man? So what we are saying is this: let the constitution be revisited. If we want to get strong institutions, we must revisit the constitution. The National Assembly, I don't even know where we are going to get the human beings who will muster the courage to say we are truly going to look at the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and take away the power to appoint heads of institutions from certain institutions, if not all, especially the INEC chairman. The Chief Judge of Nigeria. As long as the president keeps on appointing, we cannot get strong institutions. If we have a system where the work of the INEC chairman, the position of INEC chairman and the national commissioners is advertised, and we have another board as contained in the constitution, who will interview them and pick them and give them the jobs, they cannot be accountable to the president. They will do their job conscientiously and deliver democracy in Nigeria. How do you think a president will allow INEC chairman not to do his bidding? The INEC chairman, no matter how strong you are as a human being, no matter how honest you are, the pressure surpasses what you and I think about. At times you say you want to resign, your life and the life of your family is online. And when you have accepted, when you have done, you have done it. Look, I don't talk in parables. I say it clearly so that everybody will hear. When the president appoints the chief judge of the federation, what do you think? And appoint all the judges. And there is no this authority to determine who occupies this position outside the presidency. Come on, it's not possible to have strong institutions in Nigeria. It's what we are seeing. The National Assembly goes into session. The Senate President takes over. The Senate President was appointed single-handedly by the President. You who pays the piper always dictates the tune. They have to support the speaker. Was he really appointed or selected or nominated or elected by the members? Even from the speaker to all the principal officers, the president sits in his house and they write out the names and send to them, including the person who is heading each political party in the house. The same thing goes to the Senate. My dear people, let us have a rethink. Unfortunately, these strong men and women has overrun Nigeria, and I don't know where we will start. To say let us start rebuilding, I am afraid if you and I will be alive when such will happen. May God help us.
Thank you.
I think I have to stop here for now.
Thank you very much. God bless you. A round of applause for him. Doctor, you are shaking the table, but you know, sometimes I wonder, Doctor, this one, I'm just saying it to, you know,
yes.
When we see policemen and they sit down, and policemen are talking about, you know, the rot in the police system, the police is not doing well, and you're hearing it from a commissioner of police, or from an IIG, or from a DIG. What are we? So from someone like doctors, who was director controlling voters' education, I like the way you rounded up when you talked about the fact that about how to go about it, how to change it, and I think that there should be a communique about this. I like the part where you talked about there should be a board, a commission. You know, that's the end. The last round I was going to come around and say, how do we actually do this after pointing all the fingers? Because I know that whilst you were in office, you had the opportunity to do a lot of mass voters education, transform the system, but you also made it look like, oh, it's difficult, your hands are tied. The same way my Lord said, that your hands are tied. But we have to find a way of untying these hands and making things work, because that's the essence of this conversation. And there's something that always comes to my mind, that you know, everybody that has been speaking, I'm coming to you, General, now, is this common thing that we always say, that he who pays the piper, but I will say who appoints the piper, they takes the tune that he plays. And there's something else I've always thought about, and this actually came to my mind during one election in Nigeria, and I said that the thought came to my mind, who is stronger, the person who creates the options or the one who makes the choices? You know, so we can worry about the options, but if I created the options, I don't really care about what you choose. If you pick A, it's my choice. If you pick B, it's one of the options I gave you. If you pick C, it's still one of my options. So it may be interesting for us to worry about how these options are being created than how the choices are being made. General, I'm over to you now, and would like to have your own intervention based on how you perceive Prof's keynote speech on page 18. We talked about bottom up. Can we really build institutions that enables democracy from the bottom up? And I remember, and I'll just say this very quickly, when one of my uncles was the Minister of Information, and they started something at the federal level called Change Begins With Me, with You. I don't remember if you remember that stuff. And I remember that Channels invited me for this is their Sunrise Daily, and to extray that particular slogan. And of course I was vehemently against it, and I said, no, this one, change begins with me. You are shifting responsibility, you are passing the ball. And as God will have it, the next day I was at a particular event, and he was there, and he had watched the show. So he confronted me, and then we had a very heated conversation about the change begins with me thing that he was doing. And this is what I'm seeing again in Prof's speech. He's talking about bottom-up building of institutions and enablers of democracy. What do you think about it, General? Is it really to be built from the bottom up? That's similar to what you talked about the masses, but let's hear General's view. Can you allow General to unmute himself?
Okay, thank you very much. I want to thank the National Association of Cabinet Lawyers for inviting me. It's an interesting discourse, and it's topical and it's relevant. So I listened to Prof, the Vice Chancellor, the father. I do not have the paper, but I listened to him keenly. I think that I'll be doing more justice if I shift away from bottom up and just discuss building up institutions with respect to the security agencies, and whether they are truly neutral arbiters or they are political tools. I think that would be more relevant and more helpful to this body right now. Okay, so I served in the army for 33 years, and if you add 3 years in the Nigerian Defense Academy, I've been in the security environment for 36 years. I happen also to be a lawyer. I was called to the bar in 1990. Okay, so I'm coming with a background of serving with governors, commanding brigades, commanding formations, and serving with governors and dealing with governors and political authorities, and then looking at the army from top, because if you rise up to the rank that I did by God's grace, and if at one time you were principal staff officer to the chief of army staff, you will be looking at Nigeria and looking at the security environment with coach up there. Okay, so we have very weak institutions. The fact that we have institutions is clear, we have them. Are they strong? No, very, very weak, and that includes the armed forces and other security agencies. So when we're talking about the Nigerian security architecture and the framework, we are looking at the military, we are looking at the police, we are looking at the intelligence agencies, we are looking at the anti-corruption agencies, and then we are looking at the paramilitary. All of them, every one of them, the leadership is appointed by the president. So what you will have in a nation like Nigeria will be regime security, and these agencies will do everything to protect the regime, including violating fundamental rights of the Nigeria that was supposed to protect. Unfortunately, the army that is not supposed to be seen has become very ubiquitous in Nigeria. It's everywhere in every state as a result of the lack of capacity of the police. And I'm not blaming the police. Their budget is low. In the present budget, they have only 9%. Their strength is small. The human ratio for policing is 1 to 450. In Nigeria, it's 1 to 650, and that number is even dubious. So their hands are tied, and then you call the fact that they slightly do trainings. So you have a system where the army is increasingly involved. And when you deploy so many soldiers like that, you will have violations of human rights. So within the Constitution as it exists today, we have Section 217, which gives the armed forces roles to defend the territorial integrity of Nigeria and to serve as aid to civil authority. That is what we are supposed to be doing, and it's not supposed to be a permanent role with respect to internal operations. But like I said, the police are able to handle it, so we have been thrust into it and we are doing it, and of course we have those challenges. Section 214 taxes the police with law enforcement, and again, they are able to execute it, so we are involved. Now the reality is that if you want your government to function optimally and to deliver results, the institutions must be independent and must be strong. When you do not have a strong institution, what you end up with by way of leadership is a lottery. If you are very fortunate, you will get a good leadership at a point. If you are not fortunate, then you keep having the bad ones, so we even further downgrade the institutions. So when this happens, then you need individuals, and you need individuals who will love Nigeria, who will be patriotic, who will stand up to some authorities, but then this is just a sprinkling here and there. I'll give you 2 examples. I was commanding a special task force that was made up of Army, Navy, Air Force, the police, DSS, in fact the whole thousands and thousands of troops. And I attended a Security Council meeting in the state where this force was located, and went to the loop briefly. By the time I came back, the police commissioner told me that the governor had given me a tax. So I turned and asked the governor, I said, Your Excellency, I understand you gave me a tax in my absence. He said, yes. I said, where's the tax, sir? He said, you are to send your team, you are part of your force, to go seal up a local government headquarters, because I do not want the chairman to resume. So I say, Your Excellency, that is not part of my job, and we will not be doing it. Of course, that was his last engagement with me. He never called me for any meeting. The support that he was supposed to give, he didn't give, but I didn't care. I wasn't going to become a tool in the hands of a governor. I was holding a position on behalf of Nigeria. I wasn't going to play to a governor. I was again commanding a brigade that located me in a position where I was interfacing with 3 different governors because of the location of the brigade. And one day we were having a security meeting to plan for a local government election that was to take place on Saturday. The governor turns to me and says the operation that my brigade was handling was going to be involved in the election, and I told him the miracles would not even come out, not to talk of participating in the elections. And of course he didn't like it, but so reactions like that will come from several individuals, but they will not come in the quantity and volume that will make a difference. And that is why you need strong institutions. So the president appoints the service chiefs, they answer to him. The National Assembly that is supposed to have oversight and control over these institutions does not do that. The president appoints the Inspector of Police, he controls him, he answers to him. We need state police, we do not have them. So what you have by way of institutions that we have that can enforce law, they play to the hands of political leaders. And there is no doubt about that, everybody sees. This is interrogating an issue that is as notorious as a 9-month pregnancy. We know that these institutions play they yield to political power. The AFCC, yeah, it tries, but it's selective in its investigations. The only body that Nigerians right now have serious respect for is the National Security and Civil Defense Corps. Perhaps, of course, followed by the Army. The police comes way down. So if you look at all that, we need to build strong institutions, but it will take a whole lot of engineering to do that. The politicians will not be working against their interests by doing it. They've been amending the Constitution all this while. They have not cured these defects. So it looks like a hopeless situation. Maybe the Nigeria of our dreams will not come during our time, maybe our children's time, but basically that's where we are.
It will come. Nigeria of our dreams will come. Another applause for General. Thank you very much. Like I said earlier, sometimes when I hear all of these things, I'm like, okay, Army no do us, INEC no do us, who can do us? How did we get here? But you know, Dr. Boniface
it would be good to hear your own opinion, your own perception on your perspective on these particular issues, strong institutions, enablers of democracy.
Okay.
A round of applause for Dr. Boniface Chizu.
Okay, well, thank you very much. You know, where's Florence? I think she's hiding somewhere. Florence is my friend. Well, she's been inviting me. She invited me here as a special guest. And I've not read the speech and so on and so forth. But I have my views on whether, in fact, we can have strong institutions in Nigeria. I think it is possible. Nigerians are not different, you know. It's because the systems we have in place is the problem we have. We can have, the thing we need to fight in Nigeria is corruption. Now let me give you an example. I read something this morning when I was leaving my place. There's one senator, Robert Fernandez, and his wife, Nadia Fernandez. Then he's sentenced to 11 and 4.5 years imprisonment. I don't know if anybody read it here. Yeah, and so what happened? I mean, the man was trying to facilitate things for the Egyptians and so on and so forth, and they were paying him monies. And then he was found out, and they put him in the cooler. Would that ever happen in Nigeria? Do we have any strong person, any minister, any senator, who has ever gone to prison in Nigeria because they committed a crime? Even when they commit murder, they have a way of getting themselves out of it. And so those challenges you have. So, but the point you have, the problem about Nigeria is that we have corruption is entrenched. And unless we can fight corruption to a standstill, we are not making any progress. And so, for instance, if you want to fight corruption, you need to attend to your leadership selection process. It's very important. Now look at what's happening today. If you want to be a senator, you need billions of naira to get there. Now, if you have to spend so much money, sometimes in the process you mortgage your house, you're taking a loan and so on and so forth, and you come to the position, what is going to be your first order of business? Is to recoup that money, isn't it? And we have laws in this land that says if you're going to fight any position, you shouldn't spend more than this amount of money. But then who is going to build the cart? Who is going to be the gatekeeper? And so somebody did say that what we need to do, first of all, is to attack the selection process. How do we select our leaders? And so the INEC we have today will not get us anywhere. And so we have to revisit, we have to get back to how do we have an INEC that is truly independent. That is the first order of business. And I say to us, it's not rocket science. Like somebody did say over there, all you have to do is to remove the appointment of the INEC leader, chairman of INEC, take it off the president's table, put it in the hand of a committee. Find a committee. Gather maybe past judges and so on and so forth. People, past judges who have some integrity, who have retired and so on, put them in the panel. Advertise that position of INEC. Let people apply. Let them go for interviews. And then let us select somebody who has some reputation, who wants to have some legacy, has some achievements, and want to protect that achievement. Now, once we do that, and we clean up the selection so that somebody is selected, when we vote, the votes will count. Now we are a long way up having strong institutions. Because you see, the challenge we have today is that the president is there, he's too powerful, he hijacks the judiciary, he hijacks legislature, and they do is bidding. And so how are you going to have independent institutions? You can never have them because they are at the beck and call of the president. And so somebody did say that you have institutions and morality. When you have the strong institutions, they have their rules and regulations. And they keep to their rules and regulations. And that's what makes them, strong institution. And so we have to get back. We must, we need to get back to a situation whereby things we have a leader who is been selected on merit, a leader that goes there and wants to has a vision of what he wants to do, and he wants to think about legacy.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for Dr. Boniface. Thank you very much. Yes, I said this will be very interactive. My time says we are at 8 minutes after 2. If we have 5 people on the panel, it means if we do another 10 minutes round, we'll come to past 3 o'clock. So the next time I'll be going around, the panelists will be the closing question and remarks. And so I want to give the people in the room an opportunity to make very, very brief interventions. And then based on your interventions, the panelists will respond and wrap your responses or your questions in their responses. So if we have about 5 people that can take 1 minute each, we have the Vice President, Madam Geraldine, 3, 4, 5. I think that, I wonder if can we have all the hands? Okay, I had 5 here already, then 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, if you keep to 1 minute, it won't be a problem. It's if you are not considerate and you're taking more than 1 minute. So let's be considerate of the other person's. Oh, online. Let me see those people online. That would be trouble. But let's see. Let's see online. Sorry, I forgot the online people. Oh, no hands are up here online. How many people do we have online? No, I mean people who want to say something, 1 or 2 people online, because we have to consider those in the room more. Lagos traffic, cost of fuel, jumping buses or booking Uber, it's a lot. So, but if we have 1 person or 2, so that it doesn't look like we don't care. Okay, nobody online with hands up. IT, nobody. Thank you. Let's come back to the room. So we have 8 people in all, 9 people in all. Please, can I have someone who will help with the microphone? Please come. I need a military man, someone that after when I just give you sign, you just come out the microphone. Please, because some people want to become, I don't want them to become panelists again. So once the stand is Vice President is the first, please don't become a strong man. We have a strong institution here. 1 minute. If you have a time at IT, just put it there so it will be counting down 1 minute once everybody picks the mic. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Your name and your intervention, sir.
I'm standing on the existing protocols, and I want to.
Just go ahead, sir. Fantastic. Don't fall.
Now, I'm here as a researcher and an author, and I want to bring 2 authorities of the Supreme Court to the attention of everybody here. Now, it goes to the root of interpretational confusion. I wrote a book in 2020 on pre-election, and section 285 subsection 9 that talks about that every pre-election matter must be commenced within 14 days, and that whenever you complain about event, decision, or action complained against, the fundamental point of the Supreme Court then was that all actions must be based on actions commenced from the time you became aware. The time you became aware of the event, of the decision or action. Over 50 cases were decided along that principle. But in 2023, that principle has changed. Every decision that was made by the Supreme Court on section 285, subsection 9, has changed with a new principle. And I will read it for you, please, if you don't mind.
No, just continue. Don't read it, please. Yeah. You have 10 seconds more, sir. Don't read it, just continue.
So, the Supreme Court, in short for, let me cite
you. Don't bother, because of the 1 minute you have.
Don't
there
worry.
are 8 other people that have to speak. Just go ahead.
Senator Nicholas Tofomowo versus Honorable Alfred Agbola. The Supreme Court overruled that decision to say that it is no longer when you became aware, it is when the event, the action or decision took place. That is the first one. The second one is Please, please, please. I flew all the way from Masaba to come here. Just give me 1 extra minute. 1 extra minute. The second one is, the Chief Judge issued a circular and said, every pre-election matter must be commenced by originating summons. And then matters were coming in. A senator went to court and filed a writ of summons. The judge said, convert it to originating summons. He got to the Supreme Court. Instead of the Supreme Court telling the judge who asked him to change it to originating summons to be berating that judge, it was the appellant that the Supreme Court was berating for commencing an action touching on signature, touching on forced signature academic qualification by originating summons. So the point we are making here now is this. The confusion introduced by the Supreme Court in some of his decisions is not helping us. There's an article now on Law Pavilion that talks about leading judgment and concurrent judgment. 2 senior advocates wrote those articles. And what the authors were saying is that the Supreme Court is giving people the impression that you can formulate grounds of appeal from concurrent judgment instead of the lead judgment. So those are the confusion that we must look at.
The institution itself.
The institution cannot be strong, cannot be dependable, cannot be...
When it's not predictable.
When it's not predictable.
A round of applause for him. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I said, see, you need to be a soldier. Go to number 2. You need to hold that microphone. But your intervention was fantastic, profound. Thank you, sir. Please, 1 minute, just go straight to the intervention.
Yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen. I want to stand on the existing protocol. My problem is this. From all the speakers, even from the moderators, it is doubted whether democracy is realizable in Africa. We have seen the tendency towards despotism. So there is a new thinking that we should examine the brand of democracy we want to do in Africa. After all, the Eastern countries, the China, the Russia, the Far East, they are enjoying some kind of despotism. There is development, even if there is some limited freedom. But instead of us to lose freedom, lose democracy, why don't we try to investigate this kind of new democracy that some advocates are asking for it? Obasanjo is one of them. So let's think of a brand of democracy that may not totally exclude despotism, but that you account for there should be accountability in the system, so that we will achieve development even if we have no freedom.
Thank you very much, sir. A round of applause for him. Somebody is saying benevolent dictator. Okay, Madam General.
Justice
Through Christ.
So, I've been listening to everybody talking about how to go about it. Let's change this law. Let us do this. Let us treat it in a different way. And I ask myself, who are the us? Who are the we? Who are the they? How are we going to do it? Because it's still the same us. It's still the same laws. It's still the same everything that we have practiced over and over and over again. The system, the way it is set up, because of the human beings who are operating it, will always have the same result. The only thing Dr. Chize and I were talking about here is probably a revolution. Something that starts suddenly, unexpectedly, and it just spirals. That's the only way. Because it is still the same human beings. I even asked my brother here, and I said to him, I said, who knows whether if we were in the same position, we would not do the same thing? Because the piper dictates the tune. Somebody appoints you, you get there, and you start going a little to the right, a little to the left. You speak from all sides of your mouth. Nobody can hold you to anything. So, at the end of the day, if we want to build strong institutions, I don't know, maybe the angels will come from heaven and come and reset all of us, or we will wipe out the entire Nigeria, and then new people will grow from the earth.
Thank you, ma'am. A round of applause for Madam Geraldine Way. I think we had behind the four is there. Revolution, who will come out? Who will be outside? Even enter herself, a lot of people lock their doors. But we'll get there someday. All right.
Thank you very much. My comment is based on Dr. Kwaja's comment. Most of his recommendation was accusing the president on appointment. But my own area is that just like the learned Sikh observed, that we are all involved. But he failed to realize that. For instance, if the IGL is appointed, the National Assembly are supposed to confirm the appointment. If the CJL is nominated, they are supposed to confirm. What is their input in confirming those appointments? And I remember recently, a national INEC, a national commission of INEC was recommended, and there were petitions written against the person. Yet they went ahead and confirmed. So why then are they there? If the president have to be accused for all the issues.
Thank you very much. Like I said, I'm not sure who is stronger, the one who creates the options or the one who makes the choice. Okay. No, there was one lady here. You'll go later on. Okay, then. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful everybody's keeping it very brief. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my own will even be shorter.
Fantastic.
My name is Kenneth Kele. I have a very short intervention here. And I think it may be a kind of question to the last speaker on the
Who is that, General?
On the panel.
Okay, Dr. Boniface. Okay.
Yes. You see, when you mentioned how to get a better umpire in terms of electoral commission, you said that there could be a committee. You know, in my brain, I was like, are we not more like going around the basin like a fish? Who will set up the committee? How do we start? You know, why we are here is to, think, bring solutions. Let it not just be that we are just spitting words into the air. I want us to, if we are to have a kind of, should I say, communique after this, something should be put down that we said, why don't we try this option in Nigeria in terms of selection of electoral umpire? So I'm asking, can we be more direct on this in terms of how? Is it not the same president? Or if it is not the president, is it the National Assembly? National Assembly will not stop, or they will never do anything that will take away the meat in their plate. Or is it the president? Much. The president wants to remain in control of everything. Or who will do it? Is it us here? It's just a question.
I'm hoping that when we come back to the panelists, we'll be able to discuss more about how, who, when. Otherwise, there will just be another one of those talk shops. But let's have you, sir. A round of applause for him again, please.
Okay, yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is George Mwabunike, and so first off, I'll be fast. The person that said revolution, no, we still have good people in Nigeria. Will not lose hope. So first one, low-hanging fruit. Why don't the judiciary increase their budget? Why must they go to the executive? We have division of powers in the constitution. So if they can, why would they make their budget small? Because that's low-hanging fruit. If they make it big enough to cover all their expenses, salaries, and all, and push it as much as House Assembly pushes their own, they can be independent. It's already in the constitution. At least that's the little low-hanging fruit. Why must you make it small, only salaries? Make it salaries, put in your infrastructure and all that, so that you don't go begging for wiki and all that to build houses, and then the corruption now comes on. And again, we have good people in Nigeria, so Nigeria can change. It's just getting the right people there, and it's possible. Thank you.
I like that motivational statement. We have good people in Nigeria. Nigerians are good people. Those of us in this room are good people. We are part of the ones building the strong institutions. We are not one of those that are destroying Nigeria's democracy. Am I correct? Nobody here bribes the police. Nobody here passes one way. Nobody here beats traffic light. Nobody here pays anybody to serve any court processes. Nobody here pays for bail. Am I speaking your mind? Is that your truth? Okay, let's continue.
I thank you very much for that line that you have just that you just shared, because it's actually along that line that my intervention is in.
No man notice.
It's actually a different perspective I want to bring in, because just as he said, which one of us have not done something that is not right? The problem we have in this country is corruption. Whether it is in building strong institutions or whatever, corruption. So, how do we get out of this bind? Yes, revolution, but I bet you very few people will come out.
No, let he who has not sinned.
Yeah. So, my thinking is that we should start from the schools, education. And when we start to educate the young ones, then they begin to understand that corruption is wrong. Because what is happening now is that younger people, 30, 40, 50, they are looking for ways of, they use the word blow. They want to blow, and going into politics, you blow. And if in blowing is to sell your neighbor, after you've gotten to the position, you do that.
Thank you very much, so, is that the last person?
Yes, education.
Okay, there's a lady at the back. Okay, that's the last person. That's the ninth person. Okay, you know what? Let's come back to the panelists. If we still have time, then we'll do this again. But I doubt. But after this, let's come back to the panel. I really wanted the audience to also be part of the conversation. Okay.
It's really great to be here. And,
1 minute too.
Yes, I'll try. But I think my 1 minute will be for greeting. So I just want to say thank God and for the opportunity to be here, and for the Archdiocese of Lagos. And for me, I'm so glad to be. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a lawyer in perspective. We need. Okay, so I think I'll call myself a medical lawyer because I'm in the medical profession, and we need young people's. We need young people that have not just courage, but we need young people that, I don't know, like we need young
purpose,
people
that know their
that
purpose.
are not just purpose-driven, but they are Catholic-driven. I think that's the word for me. So we need
Catholic like
Catholic.
like
No.
Jerry Rollins.
No. We have.
Go and look at it now.
So we need Catholic-driven, Catholic-inspired lawyers. We need young people that are not just like the other lawyers.
So your point is like ours, it has to be homegrown.
Yes. So
from the family unit up.
Yes. So for instance, this gathering, we should have a lot of young people. How many young persons read the Herald Weekly? How many young people follow the church and what the church is doing? How many people, we want to impact the society, we learn these things, and then we go out and we meet these people that are not of the same faith, and they, like what one of the speakers said about the people that give birth, and like they can win election without they can take an office without election. We don't want such people around us. So we need Catholics that can take their place. I actually have a lot to say, but I'll just end with 2 quotes by Pope Paul VI and a random quote. He says,
thank you very much.
Every heart with Christ is a missionary. And
every what?
Every heart with Christ.
Can we have some quiet, please? Please, one house.
Every heart with Christ is a missionary, and every heart without Christ is a mission field. We are Catholics, like the assistant parish priest in St. Agnes is a priest in residence. He will ask you, what's your missionary mandate? We're Catholics. How are we models for the younger ones coming? We need, a lot of young people know these things. They want to get involved, but they don't have people to hold their hands. They don't have people to accompany them. So one of my recommendations is also to start having mentors that can hold our hands. And then, I know this session, we don't have time to say a lot, and then maybe we can have a Catholic young lawyer or Catholic lawyer podcast, that we can have 45 minutes, 1 hour. These things we can discuss maybe weekly. We can discuss about them, and then we act on them. We're not.
Well, I just
here.
hope that since Pokoli is not in the podcast, they will watch it. But thank you very much.
And then
a round of applause for
I'll end with Paul.
No, we need to go. We need to go.
Paul the 6th, November 1973. He says, to construct a new world, more humane and just, more aware of society's real needs, according to the gospel's holy instructions, Christianity cannot be content with mediocre people. Christianity cannot be lived in any old way. Either it is lived fully or it is destroyed.
Thank you very much.
Let's take an example from
No, that's okay. Thank you very much. We need to come back to the panelists now. We need to come back to the panelists now. We need to come back. Okay. True Christ.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you very much. I like the energy in the room. I'm happy that we are actively participating. Sometimes you are having a session like this, everybody is sleeping, people are moving around, but from the conversation we are having, everyone is interacting with the theme of the event. General and Doctor Online, we've not forgotten you. I'm coming back to you very quickly. We are taking the last round of interventions from the panelists. We will still dissect this. I will allow my worthy brother Dr. Boniface to say something, and then we'll excuse him, and then the original panelists will dig deeper into the last part of the paper that was presented and give their closing remarks and tell us how we are going to build stronger institutions that enables democracy. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I want to address the question that was posed, specifically. How do you compose the committee? You can take a committee of past chief justices, people who have and then it comes to it. We can vote for the people who will be on the panel if it comes to that. If we want to remove the fact that it doesn't have to be a vote that you select some people. I don't know how you're going to do it so that they are not going to be influenced by anybody. But you can find a way to make sure people you put there, they are there on their own. They are not there representing any interest, and that's what is important. Nigerians are not different. Nigerians they commit crimes. That's corruption everywhere. The thing is that they have procedures, they have sanctions. Once you commit an offense, the sanctions will follow automatically. That's what we don't have in Nigeria. So we need to get that back. So you commit an offense, you bear the can. Consequences will follow. I think that's what is important.
Thank you very much. Again, as the doctor was talking, I just remembered the one who creates the options versus the one who makes the choices. But let's quickly take some more wisdom from our panelists, and it will be on this note that we'll round up. So let's just hold on. Lala Silk is going to still help us dissect the last paragraph on page 19 of the keynote speech. Hello? No, they also you will address the interventions that they've made, and then together you will attack the paper and then make your closing remarks all at once so that we can manage time. But I want us to be sure that we actually dissected the totality of this keynote speech. So let us see if we handle police brutality. Impunity is paraded as governance. Can we have one house, please? One house, please. One house. And the urgent task before us is to re-envision our society. Let us see who led the team when we represented Nigerian lawyers against the police when one of our colleagues was shot during the Christmas on December 25th. That was 2 years ago now. That was when we were still in office, and I remember that we begged Lenesik to represent and lead that team that eventually secured the conviction for the police, the trigger policeman. So I want us to talk about the police, and the police is your friend. That's part of Professor's speech. My Lord, with due respect, you don't give the bench allocation, but permit me to just refer you to something that is on page 20 of the keynote speaker's presentation. I liked what he did in first instance, second instance, third instance, fourth instance, fifth instance, and I would like you to help us bring that home. We were talking about Jerry Rawlings, and bring that home with respect to the Nigerian court system and the Nigerian police as a whole. General, if you can hear me, I would like you to look at the conversation that the speaker had on page 21 when he talked about brutal dictators should not be presented as role models to young Africans. You said something very profound when we were talking, when a particular governor asked you to do something. Somebody whispered, I will not mention his name. He said, what about the ones you did that you did not talk about? It's the one you did not do. I don't think you did anything, but okay, Mr. Alibora said it was the one who said it. But I'm just saying that we need to hear from you about brutal dictators and how we are having wrong role models. The Nigerian, I won't say youth generally, everyone is having wrong models these days. The people we used to call celebrities are not the people who call celebrities anymore. Those days when we were growing, you look up, you want to be a judge, you want to be a senior advocate. But these days you want to be a Davido, you want to be some kind of somebody else. And then what are the morals, these popular figures, these influencers, these celebrities, what morals do they have? What is their content? And how is that shaping our institutions and indeed our democracy? My powerful brother here is also going to help us look at how development depends on good governance. The speaker said a lot about that on page 21. And he talked about, I'm still bringing him back to Obama's speech though, but he was looking at development, he was looking at institutions, he was also looking at how people like Mobutu Sese Seko was called father of the nation, and talking about general nation building. Then Doctor, if you can hear me, Dr. Ogboaja, Africa indeed graduated from the reign of strong white men. I'm reading this out because you don't have the paper. Africa indeed graduated from the reign of strong white men to the reign of strong black men, some of whom were assisted in infaming by colonial powers during the Cold War. So we want you to look at all of that and general conversation as regards how the world is being structured, and the concluding part of the presentation of the keynote speaker, I want you to look at it. He talked about education, and I told you when he was leaving, I asked him, what does he mean by education? Does it mean we should educate the elite, the masses, like Mr. Oshoma said, or does it mean something else? And he said that education rests on 3 pillars. That's the keynote speaker now, and he promised he was going to send me another paper. Hopefully when he sends it, I will share it as well, where he addressed this. And he said it rests on 3 pillars: intellectual, ethical, and technical. Many of us worry more about the technical part of education, but when you see the way people act, you can realize, you can tell whether they went to school or they are educated, because education is actually supposed to take you through all those 3 stages. So when you go to school and then you do not have the intellectual part, the ethical part intact, even though you are a professor, you will still qualify, you will still not qualify as being educated. So I will expect that our panelists will also consider the interventions of people and give us some powerful closing remarks. Can we put our hands together again for our panelists as they take their last round of interventions? Thank you very much. Let us see.
Well, like I said in my opening speech, the police, they are Nigerians, and they only reflect who we are. We cannot bring people from Mars to come and be policemen. We, the people, are the ones that will graduate on or take on positions as policemen. And if the foundation is not right, which we know it has not been, then we cannot expect utopia. We cannot expect policemen to be better than who we are. And I think this again applies to all our institutions. It is us as a people. And actually this morning, when I was thinking about this seminar, and I thought, what am I even going there to talk about? You know, I read Prof's paper early in this morning, And I thought to myself that is it really about the Constitution per se? The way he has said that because we have a weak Constitution, then we have weak institutions. I thought to myself that that is not possible. It is the people, we, the people. We are the ones that are in charge. It is not the office per se. You have an IGP. If the IGP is corrupt, what do you expect from the other police officers? The divisional police officer expects returns. I was made to understand that when you are posted as a policeman to man something, you are expected to bring returns. So how can we talk about it and believe that we can do it better? So, my own conclusion of it all, I would align with what my sister Geraldine Way said. Actually, that was my thought this morning. That was my conclusion. That how can we change the system? Well, we say the home. We have to raise our children better than we are doing now. But how many parents are there to nurture their children? When it is the parents that will send the children out to go and beg for money or to go and steal, in my neighborhood where I came from, I'm told that in one area, they have an association of Yahoo mothers. So, in such a situation, what are we breeding? What is the future? I honestly cannot see how we're going to turn the situation around. Because the home that should be the one to nurture is already corrupted. When parents would look at the JAMB committee that was set up, they said over 600,000 were involved in malpractices, exam malpractices in the last JAMB, out of 1.9 million. That is already like a third. So what do we do? Where are we going? What is it? I just say my conclusion is Nigeria seems to me now like Sodom and Gomorrah, and the solution will just be the solution that God gave to Sodom and Gomorrah.
Lord have mercy. I thought you were going to say that after me. Lord have mercy. Let what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah not happen to us. Lord have mercy. God is a God of mercy. All right, let's have Mr. Liberos.
Yes, thank you. I am not an apostle of calling on God to solve situations so that human beings have been given solutions to. While I agree with the learned's sake that we are all involved, I want to talk about solutions, really. The problem we have here also is that we are waiting for everybody to be the solution. Only few men rule the world. Few men rule the world. And the world today has settled for less. Whether you like it or not, the world has settled for less, not just Nigeria. That's why the role model that my brother Charles talked about are not those role models that you used to see. So the question is, are you ready to rule the world? That's the question. Are you ready to be among those strong individuals that will build strong institutions? I tell people, at my age, Obasanjo had retired as president of Nigeria, but we are the next set of leaders in Nigeria. Yes, so you should be ready. And then another thing that we have is that, another challenge that we have is that we want a solution immediate. And that's why my big sister, the learned sick, is talking about a revolution. No. You should have a plan. My children, for example, I teach them leadership. I tell them, one day you will rule your space. And so, I am preparing their mind to be those people who will lead their space. So I'm not waiting for you to come join me to bring up your children the way I'm bringing up mine. So that's where the education from the home starts from. So you shouldn't be waiting for example, the online now is a leveler. I don't respond to everybody that talks to me online because you don't even know, the person can be high up there, but you don't know his mental capacity. Why would I bother myself? So in the same vein, that association of Yahoo mothers, what do concern me, concern them. But I also want to belong to association of parents who are leaders and bringing up their children in leadership. These are the people that will own the world tomorrow. So if you want to belong to that Yahoo, or you want to belong to leadership, it depends on all of us now to begin to bring up our children and give a time span. Not today. In the next 5 years, where will you want to be? In the next 10 years, where will you want to be? And when you get there, what are you going to do? Are you going to write your name in sand and in gold, in the sand of time? Or you are just going to be one of those who came and saw and they say he conquered, which he didn't do. So it behoves on all of us to say, look, I want to make a difference. Sometimes people tell me, Liberals, I pray for you to get appointment. I say, God forbid. Not because I don't like appointment or no, but because I want to change the mindset of a few people so that when we get there, we'll be able to reason alike. Because if I'm the only good person in the midst of bad people, I go bad. So that's what we should be doing. That's what we should be. The take home for all of us is, I want to make a difference. And the people around me should make a difference. I have an army of keke riders. In my area, ask Andrew Pataku, they know me. They have issues, they call me. They want to be like me. Because I practice what I preach. Big or small, relate with those people. Relate with your children. Relate with your environment as if you are the government in that area. That way, you never can tell. One of them will be counselor tomorrow and say, no. I once had a teacher who told me that we need to do it this way. And that's the way we can build people who will build institutions. But if you are waiting for a knight in shiny armor to come with his cutlass or sword to just go to Aso Rock and remove president and right all the wrong, now lie we dey deceive ourselves. Or you wait for one day somebody will come and spark a revolution and then everything will burn down. You might not even be alive. Your children feel no go day. I visited Kigali and I saw what revolution or war did there. So and that brings me rounding up to your uncle Alhaji Lai Mohammed's slogan. I remember those days. We sit in the same panel like this with Alhaji Lai Mohammed and so many people in APC today. They will tell you this is what Nigeria needs to do to get better. But today they are there. They are doing the same thing that they once criticized. And all of us here, all of us, like the last speaker said, if we do not tell ourselves that we want to make a difference, we want to make a change, we would be so sucked in that Nigerian craze for acquisition. I had a neighbor who was building a massive house and I told him it was wasted. He said, I'm thinking poor. I told him, I said, this house is now waste because your children will go abroad. All of them will go to university. You'll be lonely in this house. Me that live in a 3-bedroom, my children today, 3 of them know the house. And the house is becoming too big. It's 3-bedroom. So you're building a 7-bedroom because you want to acquire. So all of us here need to take the message home and say, look, I want to impact my environment. So that those people in turn will impact their environment and those other in turn will impact their environment, starting from your children, starting from your home. That way, and that's why, sorry to say, I've not attended mass for a very long time now, because sometimes you go to church also. We need to tell ourselves the truth. Sometimes you go to church. I said recently, Nigerian Christians destroying Christianity. Sometimes the things we do in churches also consistently destroy the fabrics of our existence. And you begin to wonder. So we need to tell ourselves that, look, I want to be that change. I don't care what Tinubu does today. Even if it affects me, I can boldly say to him, to his face, that this is not what you preach, but I want to be a different. And so, these days they are harassing Showore, but the man is dead, saying, look, I will not pull it down. If you like, arrest me 1,000,000 times, you just make him popular. And so that's the message I want all of us to take away from here, and not to look for one person who will come and then do the election. And when you impact your environment, when the election comes, you can easily tell them, no matter what they give you, remember the bond and the decision that we have made. We want to change our environment. Thank you.
A round of applause for Mr. Lemoros Oshoma. That was powerful. Let me go online. General, are you still there? I'll start with Dr. Ogwaja, then I would end the online with General. So, Doctor, you can just go. Let's have your response as I have thrown at you, and then your intervention and closing remarks.
Yes, you talked about the kind of leaders we have in Africa, as exposed by the Reverend, by the Bishop, by the Vice Chancellor. Yes, the white skin posted on us themselves and made mess of us. And unfortunately, while they were living, they selected people like them. They selected people who will continue the legacy they left behind. And they continued. And that was how we came to the kind of constitution we have. But it becomes difficult for us to come together as a nation and put two words together as a constitution for ourselves, the kind that will suit us, will toe the line of the West. It is also the same kind of situation that we will want to do everything the West does without knowing whether it really suits us in Nigeria or not. But for example, Professor Henry came into the limelight as an electoral umpire and discovered a homegrown electoral system that have been the talk of the day, that has ever given us the only free and fair election we have had in Nigeria. Everybody applauded it. But what did we do with it? We threw it to the dustbin because we are looking for what the West will clap for, and that's the system that will give the strong people the whole help to go and to win the elections. The whole help to do whatever they want. And of course, that is what the way we have found ourselves. We have never for once made concerted effort to invent things in an African way and carry them out. The things that suit us as Africans, the things that suit us as Nigerians. We will hear that the West has gone digital. We go digital. And that is why we will go digital during the election, and we will now tell the world that there was, what do we call it, glitch. To put that as a play, we must do our best to absorb ourselves of this data from the West that they left here. Let us now look at what the situation in Nigeria. Any moment from now, the tenure of the INEC chairman will expire. What are we doing to make sure that a credible person is appointed? We have all gone into our cocoons. We have all kept quiet. Nobody is talking. Everybody is busy doing his or her own thing. Not until they will bring a well-known card-carrying member of any of the political parties to become INEC chairman. And that is now when we wake up and start talking. Where are the civil society groups? Have all of them been cowed? Where are the media? Have they all been put inside the pocket? Where are the religious leaders, the Christian fathers, Christian leaders? What are the Islamic leaders? in the years to come, nobody is talking. They are keeping quiet. Okay, although we don't want to talk so that we will not die. Somebody just mentioned that they asked somebody to pull down something and he refused. Is he dead? So we are all I don't know, I think it's conspiracy of silence. That is what I'm accusing Nigerians. Conspiracy of silence. Have all of us been bought? Nobody is talking again. We need to put pressure on the government. We need to put pressure on the president, on the kind of person he's going to appoint into certain sensitive positions. We will keep quiet until one Abu from one motor park is made INEC chairman. Then we'll start shouting. By then it becomes too late. And the normal thing, the National Assembly is rubber stamp. They will rubber stamp it for their principal. And that we will have it. And we go back to another round of troubles. I want to call on Nigerians, my brothers and sisters, that we must live up to expectation. We must not be allowed to be cowed into silence, and we die in silence. The man dies in him who keeps quiet in the face of oppression.
The man dies in him who keeps quiet in the face of oppression. But again, that's for all of us. So everybody has to do something. It's not Christian fathers, it's not NACL, it's not civil societies. I think everybody from where you are have to do something. General Pat, can we have your final intervention? Is it there? Can you allow him to unmute himself? General Pat, let's have you. Let's have your own final comment before we now go to my Lord, Honorable Justice Matthias. Is he still online or is dropped? It's not online. All right, my Lord, Honorable Justice Matthias, let's have yours. Then we'll bring this session to a close. You have a microphone beside you? Okay, none anymore.
Thank you very much, moderator. I'll try as much as possible to be very brief. 2 clarifications. I don't know, one of the panelists was talking about appointments of judges. I'm not sure that panelists really understand the procedure of appointment of judges, because if you understand one, it's a very tedious process. I can give several examples. There is a particular state in which a particular person wanted to be appointed. It was the governor's personal candidate. This person was rejected by NGC 3 times. So it wasn't a rubber stamp situation. The constitution is clear on the procedure. You have the Judicial Service Commission that recommends. They still conduct their interview. They now forward those names. NGC on his own will do his own investigation. There are several instances in which you have some judges that were meant to be elevated to the Court of Appeal. They were not, because issues were found out against them. Then also, if you're also on the bench, the issue that, is the president that is appointing the CJN, that is not true. The bench itself has its own procedure and hierarchy. There are things in which the bench already, in some states, and I can even say in Supreme Court, you already know the next CJN. It's not something that, president is intervening. No, it's not. There's a process to it. So I need to make that clarification. Then also, those that are complaining about the Constitution, they fail to understand that the drafters of the Constitution are not the so-called military men, are actually legal experts. They are not whatever. They are, when I mean legal experts, they are people that are extremely intelligent. I don't want to mention names. 3 of the people that drafted the current Constitution, they are among the best constitutional lawyers you can have in the world. So you see, when these people draft this thing, at times you might look at, it's not, I said it again and I'll still say it again. It's the misinterpretation. The Constitution is not the problem. It has never been the problem. Then somebody was talking about courts with conflicting judgments. And this is my own take on it. I'm always very careful. I tell people that before you talk about a judgment, read every single thing about that judgment. The facts, the opinion, the reasons. You will find out that some judgments are different because the facts are different. What the one party brought to that court is different from what the other party brought to the court. But somebody will just tell you, it's the same story. It's not the same story. And in several instances where Supreme Court has found out they made an error in an earlier judgment, they review it. I can talk about the local scholars of Okafor and Iweke about signing. If you look at it recently now, Supreme Court is gradually shifting away from that position. So it's to err is human, forgive is divine. Then we need to understand something, particularly those about talking about we need to have a revolution and whatever. Nigeria as it is unique. Unique in the sense that we are all from different tribes and backgrounds. And there is no way that is going to affect our mentality in our way of approach of doing things. I mean, today you are complaining about a particular minister, you'll be surprised the next thing is village people are coming out and say, leave our son alone, no, he has not done anything. That's the system. So really, if you want to change the mentality of the people, first of all, you need to understand their background, where each person is coming from. And if I may say this over the years has in fact even influenced judgments. There's 2 judgments of the Supreme Court I was reading. I was not comfortable with what they decided. But when I looked at the panel, I was not surprised. Because the person that is coming, there is a particular matter on issue of jurisdiction. The members that sat on the panel before the Supreme Court, all those judges of the Supreme Court, all came from civil service. Either from Ministry of Justice or something. So their decision affected the outcome of the case. If you had justices that came from private practice, that will have changed that particular case. But that is what it is. You can't, it's difficult in a society like Nigeria to say that you want to change. It's extremely difficult. So even when you are talking about revolution, you might have some people here today that say, yeah, we support revolution. Next thing, some people will say, I don't want to be involved, or don't put me into trouble. A classic, I can come to and talk about having independence of the judiciary on the issue of budget, autonomy of the judiciary and everything. Several times, there's a particular, let me say I attended a particular program in which some of all the judges were discussing. And what was the bone of contention was that the time when people were fighting for judicial independency, the MBA and the general lawyers did nothing. It was the small admin staff that were the ones on strike. The MBA the MBA was dead. I told somebody, and another judge confirmed, said, imagine if all the lawyers in the Federation in Nigeria today said, look, we will down tools. Nobody is going to go to court. Nobody is going to go to CAC until you give judiciary their independency. You will see the effect. But nobody is prepared to do that. One senior advocate is saying, do you know what, you want me to release a 100 million naira brief? Please, let's focus. And that's the problem. It's just like what Mr. Lehman said. People are not prepared to fight. It's until we are ready to fight. I'm telling you, I mean, you can come and continue to talk from now to thy kingdom come. We are just wasting our time. A good example is like Lagos State High Courts now. If you look at around the court system, we are always rationing light. Because I've asked several times that what is the MB of the various branches? Thank God the president of the Lagos branch is here. I mean, it's very good as he's here. What are they doing? I was a vacation judge and I sat at TBS. It's terrible. It is terrible. I was sitting, the moment they switched off the gen, I told the lawyers, hey, that's it, I'm not sitting again. Because I couldn't really see, and it was extremely hot. The MBA is aware of this. What are they doing? You can't expect the judge who is not meant to talk to be the one to be carrying placards. It's not going to happen. But when the MBA is standing and doing what they are meant to do, you see, in other countries, the law societies are extremely active. They are the ones that they fight with the government. But in our situation, they are trying. I won't say they are not trying, but it boils down to at the end of the day that like, what is good for my pocket at the end of the day. So finally, like somebody has said, I mean, there's no doubt about it. If you really want to change the system, you have to start from the home. I mean, the home is practically broken. This year alone, on divorce matters, I've delivered judgment close to 50. That have delivered judgment. I didn't say the one I'm hearing, that have delivered judgment close to 50 this year alone. The year is not ended. It hasn't ended. We are just in September. That's to tell you that the home practically is gone. And if you don't go back to the roots, I'm sorry to say, you can't make any impact. Because the child who is coming from a broken home, what he's thinking is about money, about survival. He won't think about any principles of morality, decorum, or whatever. It's just going to for him how he can make the money. That's what he's thinking about. So my final take, please. Education, home training. We need to go back. How we are going to go back? Well, I don't know. Only God help us.
A round of applause for my Lord, the Honorable Justice Matthias Dawodu. Can you put your hands together for all the panelists? This has been a very, very, very insightful conversation. But my Lord, you gave me lower jab. When we were talking about MBA, we are trying, you know. Because I know how much work we did, whether, you know, not only the civil Taliban is not attacking me, but I will handle this matter later on. I remember there was a particular time that there was an action that was taken against a CGN in this country. Then I was not even the national executive of the NBA, then I was still a branch officer. And then, and then we asked lawyers not to go to court. There was a boycott. I remembered very well, I was one of those that led the enforcement team in Ikeja High Court. Going from courtroom to courtroom. Like you said, some lawyers still showed up. We're literally chasing lawyers out of court, and I was this close to be cited for contempt. And I remember then that Channel Television started following us back to back. And they were showing that particular episode of chasing lawyers out of the court every hour. By the end of the day, the entire family members I had all over Lagos and Nigeria were already calling and saying, "Guy, you're being profiled, you're being profiled. What's your interest?" But there was no interest. But speaking about what you said, in our own individual ways, at some point, we will need to stand for something. At some point, we will need to go out of our way to prove a point for our conscience, not because somebody is watching you or somebody is not watching you. But I think everything we have said so far is that this is an individual responsibility. Building strong institutions will begin from the unit, the family unit, from the home. But then it will begin from you. What are you doing to destroy the institutions that have been already built? How often do you go and bribe police, beat traffic lights, manipulate processes? You know, we're all lawyers. We know all the things you do, the kind of processes you file, how you store judgments, all those things that we do. These are the things that are making a mockery of the institutions that already exist. We can say the judges are delaying in passing judgments. What kind of applications are you putting before them? They pass a judgment, you throw another clog in the wheel. These are the things we do. Once the clients can pay, we take care of our bills, and we say that government is not taking care of us. So I think that is the summary of all that we have had, that we all have to become individually responsible to build the institutions that will enable the democracy that will eventually build and become the nation that we dream of. I want to round up on these three things. I just want us to say these three things together. And let's just rise up together and just say, very simple, but it's some kind of, thank God is a faith-based conference. So you can just say after me, I am a lawyer. I am a Catholic. And I will be the difference I want to see. So help you God. Thank you very much. A round of applause for all the panelists. Can I invite the PRO? How about please come and take over? Thank you very much. It's been nice moderating the session. I remain Charles Ajiboye.
Thank you, Mr. Charles. Please, before you go, we'll be having a group photograph for the panelists and the president. Please, while the session was ongoing, the chairman and executive of the Lagos branch of NBA walked into the hall. Thank you for coming. Special thanks to all others that also took time to come. All right. All right. Please, Mr. President and the panelists will be having a group photograph now. Madam President, thank you, our dear panelists. No doubt it was an interesting session. Thank you to our Major General and our INEC official. Group photograph, yeah. After photograph, group photograph. Group photograph with the panelists. Please don't go. We are not done yet. There are still some events. Please. All right. Please. There is also a presentation of plaques to our panelists. Please, let's get seated. All right. Please, panelists, can we take back our seats? My Lord. Let me note. Please, Leonard Silk. Please, the group photograph with the panelists. Please. All right. Photographer, where are you? Please, let's clear the eyes so that we're able to have this picture. Please, Mr. Ken. They're having a group photograph, please. Like they're having a group photograph. Please excuse them here. Please, let's get seated. We are not done yet. Please, let's get seated. Please, let's get seated. Immediately after the group photograph with presentation of plaques and to our panelists. All right. The National Executive President should please join them. National Executive, past presidents, current ESCOs, please join them for this group photograph. Please. ESCOs of the association, both national and Archdiocese, please, let's join for this group photograph. Thank you. Thank you. While the presentation, immediately we'll be having a presentation of awards, and we'll be starting with our dear Leonard Silk. Planning committee, organizing committee, if you are here, you are part of the organizing committee, please come forward for the group photograph. Organizing committee members, Madam Abiokuta, Ifoma, organizing committee, please. Organizing committee. All right, thank you. All right, so we'll be calling on Leonard Titilayo Akinlawo to come and receive our award, and this will be presented by Mr. Rupert Irikefe, the second National Vice President of the Association. Oh, first, sorry. In fact, incoming President of the Association. First Vice President, and if it pleases the Lord, incoming President. All right. Mrs. Akinlawo, thank you. Immediately after now, our own dear Leonard Judge Justice Daudu, which will be presented by Chief Ikore. My Lord, the Honorable Justice Daudu. My Lord, the Honorable Justice Daudu, please come forward. Oh, he's gone. All right, someone to receive is ROA Judicial Worker. Please, the TCRO should receive on behalf of my Lord. Please, the TCRO should please come and receive the plaque on behalf of my Lord. Chief Ikore. Yeah. The judge, Justice Daudu. Immediately after now, our own there, Mr. Liberos Oshoma. Thank you. All right. Yeah, please. All right. Justice Daudu. Yeah, Mr. Chief. Yeah, please. You can. Immediately after Mr. Liberos. Let me hold your parts, please. All right. Yeah, this will be done by Miss Way, Geraldine Way. The DCRO is representing my lord, so please, Chief Ikori. Yeah. Yes, Lord. Yes, ma'am. Please, even as let's all remember the legal year mass is on Sunday at the Holy Cross Cathedral. Mr. Liberos, thank you. This will be done by Ms. Geraldine Way. Oh, okay. Mr. Linus Itu should please anchor this presentation. Liberos Ochoma. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Liberos. Where's the magistrate? Okay. Joy. Yeah. All right. Mr. Ajiboye, Charles Ajiboye. Charles Ajiboye, please come forward for your plaque, and this will be done by Mrs. Joy Uboboku, DCRO, Lagos State Judiciary. Thank you. Immediately after now, our Major General, even though he's virtually present, yes, someone will receive on behalf of our Major General. All right. So, Mrs. Ungozi Obolu, please come and present on behalf of the Major General. Someone should please receive it. All right. And Dr. Obuaja is virtually present with us. Yes. Hello. Yeah, veteran people will give to you to present. All right, we'll call on the chairperson, organizing committee, to please come forward for our vote of thanks. Chairperson, organizing committee, Miss Ungozi Ayegbunan, please come forward for your vote of thanks. Thank you. Vote of thanks, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. We're all done. Good evening, everyone. Can I have your attention, please? Can I have your attention, please?
Please, let's get seated. Please, let's just get seated. We're not spending more than 5 minutes. Please.
Please. It will not be good for us to have had such a wonderful day, and we do not thank you. We do not thank you. It will not be in good taste. So please, we want to say thank you very much to every single one of you who has been here the past several hours. We thank you very much, and our panelists did a wonderful job. For the first time in 3 years, I haven't seen everybody sit and listen and participated actively. It was very good. Please, we thank you all for that. And our members as well who showed up en masse. All the seats were full and people were very happy and very interactive. Our benefactors, our supporters, those who fund us, we want to say a big thank you to you. May God continue to bless them and replenish their purses. May He continue to give them and all of us also good health of mind and body. Now, we know that next year we are coming back. please spread the word. Please also dip your hands into your deep pockets and give us something. It helps us to create and have something like this. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. And thank you for the goodwill and prayers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just by way of announcement, on Sunday, beginning from 9 a.m., we'll be having our legal year mass at the Holy Cross Cathedral. We look forward to seeing each and every one of us. On the 22nd will be our AGM. It will be virtual. Please mark this date. At this time, we'll be calling on our dear Reverend Father Pascal Eburo to please come forward and take the closing prayer, or give us the closing prayer and final blessings. Father,
He will do final blessing. Where is our program? Let's do lawyer's prayer. They discuss now. Don't call down. Use the mic and call him.
Father Pascal, please, dear Father Pascal, please come and lead us in the closing prayer.
I'll say lawyer's prayer. You don't want to make people know.
Please come and lead us in the closing prayer, Father, and final blessing, pending on Sunday when we'll have the legal year mass. Thank you.
All right, it's for me. I have taken it.
I'll simply say, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, we fly to your patronage. Despite not our prayers and necessities, but deliver from our wilderness, the Lord be with you. May the blessings of Almighty God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit come down and remain with us both now and forever. Amen. Have a pleasant weekend.
You too.
All right, thank you. See each and every one of us on Sunday. Bye. Thank you to our online viewers. God bless you.